Imagine you are building a treehouse and you want it to be the coolest hangout spot ever. You wouldn't just guess what your friends like, right? You would ask them what they want. That's kind of what we are doing with user experience research interviews. In this video, we will learn how to talk to people, not aliens, just regular folks, to find out what they love, what confuses them, and what makes them go wow when they use a website or app. It's like having a secret recipe for making things awesome. So, buckle up and get into it.
So guys, it's time for the interviews to gather some real data, and why this real data is very important while creating or while designing a product, I'll explain you in the next slide. Here I have mentioned the importance of user experience research interviews. Why interviews are important when we are designing a product. Well, here I have mentioned three major points. The first one is user-centric insight. So when you do your interview thing and you get the real data, you get user-centric insight, which means the first-hand qualitative data to ensure that product are designed and the end user in mind. I mean, with the end user in mind. Next point helps you to identify the pain points, obviously, because if you are not able to find the pain points, then you'll be not able to market your product properly, right? So pain point is very important in order to market, in order to design the product perfectly. And then the last major point is validating assumptions. So basically the assumptions you have already made, like if I create product for this kind of user in a this way, then the user will like that product. So that is totally your assumptions, right? And to validate your assumptions, interviews are very important. So basically it helps you to ensure that the design decision you have made or you are going to make are backed by real user experience, right? So these are the key major points that defines why user experience research interviews are very important, right? So when we are in research phase, interviews are very important, right? Now let's understand the process, like how you can take the interviews, what are the process you need to follow. So here, when we think of conducting an interview session, you have to do planning and preparation so that you can take the interviews properly, right? So in planning and preparation, there are three main things. The first one is participant selection, logistics, and then the questionnaire development, right? Questionnaire development is very important. Even all three are important. So let's talk about the participant selection first. So when we talk about qualitative interviews where we need only 6-7 participants, in that case you can go for your friends and family, your known people, or even you can hire some people to take interviews, but obviously you need to pay them. And it totally depends on your target audience. Like if your family members or your friends are your target audience, then you can take the interviews of them. Otherwise you need to hire or you need to find out these participants from social medias and different other platforms, right? Because the main thing is the participants whom that you are going to take the interviews should be your target audience, right? If your friends and family are not your target audience, then you are not going to take interview of those, right? Now on social media you can approach multiple people. As I told you that we need only 6-7 participants for the qualitative interview. So you can manually approach those 6-7 interviewers, 6-7 participants to take interviews, right? So this can be only done on your social media or in your knowns, right? Then the second one is quantitative interview. So for that you can again use social media, but here you need to spend some amount. You can run ads to take interviews, you can create Google form with your questionnaire, right? And even you can incentivize the participants so that they take your interviews and fill out all the questions which you have added into the Google sheet, or Google form, right? So this is how you can do your participant selection. Then we do have logistics. Now what is this logistic means? Basically the venue, the timing, or the scheduling of the interview is based on logistics, right? Now here I am mentioning one thing, that the venue shouldn't be your office where you have already done tons of branding in of the upcoming product which you are going to create, right? Because this can influence your participant's mind, right? So it's better to take, or it's better to select any other venue, like a coffee shop, like a park when no one is there, so that you can quietly take your interview, right? So this kind of place would be perfect if you thinking to get some real data, right? The unbiased data, and then the scheduling and all, you can set up all the things by your comfort and your participants comfort on the basis of those things, right? And the last, we have questionnaire development. Now questionnaire development is totally depends on the product, the sector on which you are, right? So I can't provide you the questionnaire, but I do have the suggestions which you can apply while creating the questionnaire, right? So let's go to the next slide. Here I have mentioned 3 points which you can use or which you can apply while creating the questionnaire. The first one is broad versus specific. So you need to create the balance of broad questions versus and specific questions, right? Like, if I give you an example, let's say you are creating a food delivery product or food delivery application, mobile app, right? Now the question, the broad question can be, which kind of products you like to order online? This is kind of a broad question, right? And if we talk about the specific question, then it should be, which kind of application you use or you prefer to order food online, right? So this could be the specific question. Now you need to create the balance of both type of question, broad and specific. Then the second point, very important point, is the questions should be open ended, not close ended. And why I am asking you to ask only open ended questions? Because open ended questions encourage participants to express themselves freely and provide richer insights, right? So if you want the real insight, the real data from those participants, then you should add only or majorly open ended questions in your questionnaire. Now if you don't know what is this open ended or close ended questions, so let me give you an example. So here's an example of open ended question. Do you like to order food online? And the possible answer could be yes or no. Simple, right? So this is the close ended question, where you ask them only one specific thing and they answered in yes or no, right? But if you want to make it open ended question, then you can ask like this: do you like to do you like to order food online? And if yes, then why? Or if no, then why? So by just adding why into both the terms, you have created an open ended question. Now the answer would be yes, I like to order food online, and he or she will express themselves that why they like to order food online, right? And the third point is iteration and refinement. Like, after every interview session, you can slightly refine your questions on the basis of answers and data you got from the previous interviews, right? So this can help you to get more accurate and exact data by the end of your overall interview sessions, right? So this was the 3 major points you need to follow while creating the questionnaire. Now let's go to the next slide. Here, after uh, basically preparing, planning and preparation process, you need to conduct the interview sessions. Now how you can conduct the interview sessions? Basically you need to follow these 3 steps. The first one is stabilize rapport. So basically you need to make the participants comfortable, and you need to create an open relationship between you and your participants so that they can be calm and answer all the questions legitimately, right? Then the second point is, you have to be an active listener, right? So here what you can do is, you can record this overall interview by getting the consent of the participant, so that you can listen all the complete conversation between you and the participants, and you can totally focus on the interview, right? And the third point is empathy and sensitivity. So obviously you need to show some empathy and sensitiveness while taking interviews. This can help you to stabilize trust and transparency. Now these are the points you need to focus on while taking the interviews, right? Now here I have mentioned the techniques for effective interviewing. The first one is probing. Well, asking further questions to delve deeper into the participants' responses reveals more nuanced insights, right? That's why probing is important. Then the second point is non-verbal cues. So while you are recording the audio of the overall interview, otherwise if the participant is not comfortable with the audio recording, then you can ask for one of your team member who can note all the answers, so that you can totally focus on taking interviews and focusing on the body language of the participant, right? Because these body languages and these non-verbal cues can help you to understand the response of your participant better, right? That's why these non-verbal cues are important, and that's why you need to 100% focus on taking the interview while the audio can be recorded. Otherwise, the one of your team member can write the answer, note down the answer, all the answers, right? Now the third point is adaptability. So basically you have to adapt and modify the interview a little bit, so that the participant can be more comfortable and he or she will answer uh, all the questions more naturally, right? So that is why you need to focus on these techniques, right? Now here I have mentioned, now after getting the data, right, the interview session is done. Now once you got the data, how you can analyze and synthesize the interview data, right? So after getting the data, you need to analyze and synthesize all the data. So here I have mentioned 3 points, right? The first one is thematic analysis, and then quotations, and then the visualizations. So in thematic analysis, I have mentioned understanding common themes and patterns across interview is pivotal, and it is helpful for deriving actionable insights, right? So you can find out the common themes and patterns in all the interviews, so that you can find out the actionable insights out of those data, right? And then we have the second point is quotation. So basically you can use direct participant quotes, which can helps in grounding the findings and adding human context to data, right? And at the end we do have visualization. You can create the visuals of your data by creating affinity diagrams or journey maps, so that you can get the better understanding of that complex data, right? So which sometimes visualization can do the work properly, right? Now at the end we have mentioned utilizing interview findings or utilizing interview data for design improvements or for product designing, right? So obviously you have find out the patterns, and you can use that patterns, use that pain points to create or to design your product overall, right? Then you can obviously you can brainstorm the solutions on the basis of pain points, on the basis of data you got after the interviews, right? And at the end we do have iterate and implementation. So basically on the basis of feedback, on the basis of data, on the basis of all the major points, you can implement the changes into the product if you have already created the prototype, or if you have already created the first generation of your product, right? Otherwise you can implement those ideas into the product when in future you are creating that, right? So I hope this video helps while taking interviews or while conducting interviews for user experience. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. Also, if you still have any question, query, you can comment down below. I'll answer those questions in the comment section itself.